All right, guys, so we are going to be looking at greatest common factor. All right, so you can see the problem that I have on the left. It says 3x to the third minus 4x. All right, and what they want me to do is they want me to factor out the greatest common factor. Okay. All right, so what we're doing is we're taking what we did with our activity with the runts for those of you who are in class, okay? And we're going to be factoring out, okay, the variable, which is x, that they both have in common, and the amount that they have in common, okay? So if you have x to the third and you have x, for those of you who are at home, x to the third is x times x times x, and x to the 1 is just x. They have this in common. So they have x in common. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to divide by x. All right. That's how you do greatest common factor, is you're actually doing division. So I'm going to divide by x. All right. Now, I'm not worried about dividing by a number because 3 and 4, they don't have anything in common. Because if I take 3, that's 1 times 3. If I take 4, I can use 1, 2, or 4 to divide 4. Well, they only have 1 in common. Okay, so they in math they are not, sorry, I cannot talk. They do not have a greatest common factor because we don't consider 1 to be a common factor in this case. All right, so I'm going to divide by x. All right, so now when I do that, I take the greatest common factor and I write it in front, and then what I have left over from dividing will go in parentheses. All right, so here I take 3 divided by 1, because remember there's always a 1 in front of an x, so that's 3. And then here I subtract my exponent, so 3 minus 1 is 2, so x squared. Then I'm going to take negative 4 divided by 1, so that's negative 4. And 1 minus 1 is 0, so I don't write anything down. And that's my answer. Okay, so it should look like, to start off with, it should look like you have reversed your distributive property. All right, and you can see that I'm typing this in. Okay, you should be able to look at this and say, hey, if I do the distributive property, x times 3x squared would give me 3x to the third, and then x times negative 4 would give me negative 4x, okay? And you'd have your distributive property back, okay? So I'm going to submit my answer. Yes, I have my green check, okay? And you can see here, it also says smallest power between both terms. All right, let's try a new problem. Okay, so now I have 4x plus 5x squared. All right, again, when I look at the numbers 4 and 5, I can't divide them by anything they have in common. Okay, I can't divide them both by 2, I can't divide them both by 3, because that's how greatest common factor works that you learned when you were in middle school. All right, so now I'm just going to look to the variables, okay, and in this case, okay, they have x to the 1. So you're always going to take the smallest exponent. So I'm going to divide by x, and when I divide, whatever I'm dividing by goes in front, and then whatever is left over goes in parentheses. All right, so 4 divided by 1 is 4. 1 minus 1 on the exponents is 0, so I don't write anything down. 5 divided by 1 is positive 5. And then 2 minus 1 is 1, so I write x. All right? And again, it should look like I have reversed my distributive property. So I have x parentheses 4 plus 5x, close my parentheses, submit my answer. I have my green check. Okay? All right, I will come back in additional videos, but this is how you start greatest common factor level 1.